what will tomorrow as a day mean to the team and to the fans?
Well, consider the MLS SuperDraft to be kind of the equivalent of the NFL draft, except imagine as if in the NFL world there were 5 or 6 other ways of getting players other than the draft. In MLS, the draft is one way you can get players, young players coming through college, but there are many other avenues, and in fact, those other avenues have become more important in the MLS world over the last decade or so. But this MLS Super Draft that we're going to see tomorrow is still an important tool for clubs, especially new clubs like Austin FC, who are just putting a roster together for the very first time.
How often or how common is it that a player from the Super Draft makes an immediate impact on a team?
Well, that's a really good question because it can still happen. It's not as frequent as it used to be back in, you go back 15, 20 years. Jeff, it was almost the only way that MLS teams could get young American talent. And it is a big leap from the college game to the pro game. And sometimes it's not always easy to tell which players are going to be able to make that leap, but some do.
Are there 1 or 2 players that jump out to you as like, these guys could be instant impact guys and they could fit well with what Austin FC is trying to build?
Well, they do have the #1 pick tomorrow, and there is kind of a consensus #1 on those that do MLS Super Draft boards, and that player is Philip Mayaka, who's a midfielder. He's actually from Kenya. He's an international player, but he's been playing for Clemson in the ACC, and he's a real box-to-box midfielder. On the smaller side, only 5'8", but really skillful, and according to most onlookers, has all the foot skills and the skill sets required to be able to make the jump from college to pro. And it's also an area of need at the moment. When you look at the Austin FC roster and how they're constructed, I think Mayaka might be able to slot right in there. And there's another bonus. He's what's called a Generation Adidas player, which means there are 3 or 4 of those in each draft. Means their salary doesn't count against the salary cap for the team for the first 3 years. So that's a big incentive to take those Generation Adidas players with the top picks, and they often go top. He's the consensus #1 pick. It would be a bit of a surprise if Austin didn't take him tomorrow, quite frankly, Jeff.
So let's go ahead and assume that things stay chalk, stay to plan, and the roster that we know currently adds Philip Mayaka. What excites you most about that roster?
Well, there's lots of things, Jeff. I think in a very understated way, they've done a fabulous job building an experienced MLS roster, and don't discount how important that is in this league. I'm really excited by the fact they picked up Alexander Ring, who's a Finnish midfielder who's been playing for New York City FC for the last 4 years. I can't believe they got him, quite frankly, Jeff. How they got him, how New York City let him go, I don't know, but it's to Austin's huge advantage that they did. They've got Ring and they've got Matt Beasler, 34-year-old, very experienced central defender right behind him. Those 2 pillars are going to be huge for this first-year team. That sets the table, it sets the defensive foundation, and starts the attack in front of them. And they've got some great attacking pieces too. Lots of intrigue about how this Austin attack is going to look, how they're going to score goals. But they've got Cecilio Dominguez, the Paraguayan designated player, who's going to be pulling the strings. Diego Fagundes, a young, still call him young, he's 25. He's been in the league 10 years. He made his debut at 16, but he's a great get from New England. And then Danny Houston, the striker up front. A lot of different pieces in place. But I like the fact they've brought in a lot of MLS know-how and knowledge.